Do you struggle with being emotionally present with people and feel like I'm a total weirdo? I don't know what to do when it comes to being emotionally present. Then I have a solution for you. I'm Jennifer Evans with Empowering Wellness Counseling Solutions, and I have created an empathy algorithm. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Jennifer Evans, and with Empowering Wellness Counseling Solutions, a licensed mental health counselor and brain coach that helps thousands of clients be able to live happier, healthier, more purpose-driven lives and create lasting change and greater motivation to live the life they choose. And I do this through neuroplasticity of the brain, rewiring the brain through cognitive behavioral approaches and my neuroscience-based framework of awareness, acceptance, and action. I give concrete ways and activities and reflections that keep you processing and allow you success-oriented approaches to being able to change your life. And as a part of this program, I have created an empathy algorithm I'm so excited to share with you. Empathy is one of those things that it's one of the things that we have such a great need for and so little education and understanding of how to deal with it. It feels like that we are either too emotional or not emotional enough, both dysregulated states. And we never really understand what the sweet spot is when it comes to emotional regulation. And when we have a lot of stress in our lives, the cup is empty on being emotionally available to others. And so yesterday we talked about the 5 top reasons why we have no emotional availability. And now we're going to learn about the empathy algorithm using the 3-step process of my neuroscience-backed framework: awareness, acceptance, and action. Awareness is understanding and identifying what emotion is and starting to be comfortable with it. It's little things, and there's no shame in the game. There's no small step that is too small. There isn't. So wherever you are in your experience of what emotion is, it's important to own it, to be aware and own it or accept it. And so whether that is picking out on sitcoms and having your little emotion sheet and picking out in sitcoms what you think the emotion is, whether it's having conversations with people and just doing some quiet reflective listening, whether it's just being present with people when they are in emotionally distressed state and finding your power of neutral. You find the things that work for you. And many, many times in cognitive behavioral therapy, we will use something called an exposure hierarchy, which says on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like, I'm just going to spontaneously implode. It's not happening. 1 being like, I could do this every day. This is not anxiety producing at all. We start labeling where our distress is or where our anxiety comes in. And I find a 6 to be like, I don't even know if I want to put this on a piece of paper. Someone could find it, and that's way too much vulnerability for me. Do that once a month. Maybe have code words. To 4 being like, it's kind of uncomfortable. I don't love it, but I am trying to grow. Oh, I guess I'll do it. Do that once a week. And then strive to intentionally do the 1 through 3s once a day. Just one thing, 1 through 3, once a day. Some are real easy. Some are like, I'm gonna really push today. I'm feeling good. I'm gonna push. And you find what those exposures are when it comes to feelings and emotions and being present for it and identifying it. You understand what your triggers are, and you're just present and aware of what it is. No judgment, but just kind of lay the groundwork of being present with it. and where your distress is, and where your strengths are, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And then we get into acceptance, and this is not linear, like check, next, check. This is a flow state. So as you find awareness, you're starting to find acceptance. There's still things that you may need to be aware of. So it's not, well, I got awareness of this and I'm accepting it. Where's my action plan? No. Find some awareness. Find what you can accept. And what you can, that's a trigger. What you can accept is a trigger. So be aware of it and put some cones around it. There's boundaries when it comes to that. It's okay. No shame in the game. Remember, shame and guilt will hold you in your trauma and hold you in your grief. You let go of the shame and guilt. There's no judgment. You create a space for your emotion. DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, calls it the wise mind. Understanding the logic, understanding the emotion, and then what the wise decision is. In my book, Key Steps to Live a Happier and Healthier Life, Part 2, Emotional Regulation, 9 chapters, 9 lessons to be able to understand and be aware of emotion, to understand where you are in the emotional spectrum. It's a key step. That's why it's called key steps. There's literally spectrums. So you say, this is where I'm at on the spectrum. This is where I want to be. I can't just get here. I'm going to get into that performance, language of discipline, performance, feedback loop. I'm just going to restrict, binge, find shame and guilt, and feel like I'm completely useless. And why do I even try? I'm just going one step at a time. So if I am here, what does it look like to be one step closer? Do one thing, one step closer. Perfect that. Then start finding other ways to ingratiate the next step closer, and then slowly get to mastery. We also look at the key stages of growth, like a caterpillar going into a butterfly, of how to have that success, growth, and build towards emotional resilience, which is radical acceptance, growth mindset, and self-compassion. And a lot of people are not even on that spectrum. Opposite action is the beginning of that spectrum. So if you're ingratiating all of the emotional dysregulation, you haven't even made it to opposite action. So that's your goal. This summer of Georgia, get on there. Get on the spectrum. Then you can learn about some of the tip skills, the temperature, just being present, the grounding, the distress tolerance, and then eventually kind of finding this purpose and growth through the distressing experiences. And then we have the gratitude and suffering spectrum. There's a lot of spectrums in this emotional regulation book. And the reason for that is it all builds into the next book, Interpersonal Effectiveness, this part 3 that we've been going through the last 8 weeks. And it all leads up to the algorithm. Because when we know where we're sitting on the gratitude and suffering spectrum, when we know where we're sitting on the emotional regulation spectrum, when we know where we kind of hover on the negative dynamic, when we know what our perceived reality is, we have all this data. And as we have the data points, we're starting to get more logically oriented, and we're going to insert that data into the algorithm, which is going to create and produce a positive result. And so, as we find validation, we find self-compassion, we create a space for our emotions. We're going back to, and we're buying the Key Steps Part 2 Emotional Regulation book. It's really going to help you. I promise you, it's on Amazon. Key Steps to Live a Happier and Healthier Life, Part 2 Emotional Regulation. The link is in the video description. Go check it out. It will be the data points you need to use this algorithm. What you're also doing is not just looking at you. As we are moving into action, we're going back to awareness and acceptance for the person that we're interacting with. What do you think they're feeling? What do you think their purpose is for talking to you? What are they looking for right now? People don't usually have conversations just to have a conversation. There's usually a reason. Even if you walk out the door every morning and say, "Hey neighbor, how you doing?" You usually have a reason. You're people pleasing. Like, God, if I don't say anything, they're going to hate me. They're going to think like, what a stuck up little snot. Like, I can't believe she didn't say hi. They're going to, maybe we're just nice people and I've got like dead bodies hanging out. And so I'm just going to say hi to everybody so they don't ask questions and start snooping. There's usually a reason why. That was very dichotomous. There's clearly lots of shades of gray in between that. There's always a reason for our behaviors. And earlier in the interpersonal effectiveness book, we talked about behavior as predictable. And so looking at behavior as predictable, you can start to connect the dots of why. Like, why is this person here? What do they want from this conversation? And then what we're going to do is we're going to accept that they want something out of this. And that's fine. It's not probably malicious. It's probably that they're lonely. It's probably because they enjoy being friendly because it feels more controlling and like a perceived control than being miserable. Because they're more on a side of gratitude than suffering and despair. Whatever the case may be. And so we're trying to analyze. We like analyzing. That's easy. I can analyze. What do you think their motivation is to come talk to me? Because they could not, but they are here. What do you think their reason is? And as we calculate through what their motivation is to be here, we're calculating what the response is to validate that they came here. And we're probably like, I don't want to validate this. I wish nobody talked to me. I didn't need to know their day. I certainly didn't need to know all of the intricacies of what's happening with their cat and what they're eating and then how it's getting excremented, like TMI. But here we are. And so we're trying to figure out what is motivating them to come talk to us. And validating does not mean agreeing, and it doesn't mean rewarding. It means, hey, I can see you. By my calculations, I think you're coming here for this reason. I'm going to give you just a quick little just some kind of that's funny, or an I feel statement or something as a retort to connect with that validating point. And then I'm going to create a space so that I have a very distinct space for myself, that you have a very distinct space for yourself, and I'm creating a boundary for us to interact based on this premise that I want you to go away, but you want to talk to me. And so I'm going to be polite, because that's the thing to do, is to be polite and attentive. And the more that I can kind of validate and pivot that I have other plans and set boundaries that I'm not trying to get into a deep and meaningful, the more that I am validating you, you get your checkbox like, oh, I feel good. A little dopamine pull for me. And then I can go off and bother somebody else who I want to talk to. Because maybe I'm just lonely and I just want to talk to somebody. But what you did is you came in, you logically found what their purpose is. You gave them space for that purpose. You allowed yourself to kind of provide some kind of antidote or some kind of nicety to then sandwich in a boundary and then set an expectation that you are no longer a part of the conversation. That is the bare minimum of the empathy algorithm. It's obviously a lot more complicated than that, but we only have so much time on these videos. And if you want more, go buy the book. Key Steps to Live a Happier and Healthier Life, Part 3, Interpersonal Effectiveness. It will go through all of the pieces of understanding, but it comes down to awareness, acceptance, and action. In life, when we can do those three things, we can break through all of these feedback loops that keep us in our trauma, keep the anxiety and the depression and the ADHD weighing us down, and prevent us from being able to live our greatest potential. If you want more information, click on the link in the video description. Schedule a free 15-minute consult. Talk to me. Tell me what it is that you really want to break through. And I'm telling you, in 15 minutes or less, I can give you an entire diagnostic understanding of why you act the way you do and how to make it better. I'm Jennifer Evans with Empowering Wellness Counseling Solutions. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. Today's insights helped you to reflect more on insights on how to live more intentionally in your relationships or in your professional or personal growth. Please give this video a like and thumbs up and share it with others who could also use the insight and support. Each week, I dive into these real strategies that are coming out of my book, Key Steps to Live a Happier and Healthier Life, Part 3, Interpersonal Effectiveness. So please be sure to subscribe and to join us each week to learn more about how to create deeper, more meaningful connections, set healthier boundaries, and live a purpose-driven life. All of the principles I teach in my workbook. Your growth matters, so thank you for being here. Let's keep building a happier and healthier life together, one step at a time.